What does the future look like for Terrace Marshall Jr.? That's a question that I've been asking myself, that I've been asking Panthers Nation for the last year, at least, maybe a little bit longer since I started this show. One, coming into the season, I had high expectations for him last year. Didn't work out. I thought, based off of the production that he had towards the end of the previous season in 22, that maybe he was going to turn a corner, that maybe he would compete for the number one spot. Things didn't happen. Here we are now going on year four. So he's been in the league for 3 years. And the questions are looming. Is he going to be here? Is he going to be a Carolina Panther this year? Is he going to be traded? Is he going to be cut? Or, is Dave Canales and the front office going to sit down and say, you know what? The former second round pick out of LSU may have something left in the tank and we should keep him around and see if we can help him develop. That's the question that I've been asking, like I said. And it started to spur again because we are getting into that point of the year where, one, things are slow, but the roster is pretty settled for the most part. And so now I have to start going through the process of thinking about who's going to really be here, who's not. And when I look at someone like Terrace Marshall Jr., who I feel like is a player, man, great player, I have to think about, okay, well, does it make sense? Would he like a fresh start? And that's the question that still sits in my mind. Like, he's been through three staffs. Really, I think so he had Rule, Wilkes, Frank, kind of Tabor, and now this new staff. Really, almost five if you kind of break it up. I know it's really the same. You could say three. That's a lot to go through. You look at his production, and this is what I posted on X. First year in the league, 13 games played. He had 17 receptions, 138 yards, 8.1 yard average. Second season, and it really came on the back half of that season under Steve Wilkes, 28 receptions, 490 yards. That's 17.5 yards per reception, the one touchdown. This past season, we just saw him scratched, a healthy scratch on numerous occasions. And that was both with Tabor and with Reich. 19 receptions, 139 yards. So I posted this question. I said, what does the future look like for Terrace Marshall Jr.? I'd love to hear what Canales and Morgan think about him. And that was really my kind of feeder into our local reporters as we start to talk. Like, hey, let's ask about Terrace Marshall Jr. And that's a question I would ask if I was in their shoes. Like I said, he's shown flashes, but he's never really had a chance to grow. As you look at the changes in staff, will he be around next year? If I'm being honest, I'm going to say no. I don't think he is. That's not a knock on him. Total production throughout his career, 64 receptions, 767 receiving yards, one touchdown. Somewhat disappointing. But when I think about this and I look at him, and it's not the same, but I think about a Mingo and I think about, well, are we going to be sitting here in a few years saying the same thing about Jonathan Mingo? I certainly hope not. And Mingo's gotten off to a much better start than Terrace. But I think Terrace has shown that he can be an NFL caliber receiver. I just don't know if it's going to be here in the Carolinas. So as a fan, if you're a fan of this team or maybe you're a fan of Terrace, I'd love to know what you think. Do you think the Panthers are going to keep him around? Do you think he's going to be shipped off? Because I think he's eventually going to get cut. I don't think you can really trade him for anything. As far as the cap hit and things like that, you're saving roughly $1 million if they were to do a post 6-1 cut. So it's not big savings. But maybe the staff sits back and says, well, we're going to see if this guy can compete. Why not? He is a former second round wide receiver. Maybe they go back and look at his film from 2 years ago and see like, oh, this guy did show an ability. I mean, 17 yards per reception is nothing to shy away from in the NFL at all. And a lot of that was built off of a dominant run game, which opened it up for Terrace. But he came alive and he showed, oh, yeah, I can be this guy. Just wasn't able to do it this past year. So, folks, drop your thoughts in the comments. Let me know. Thank y'all.